in this exercise, we're going to sort of start to see a little bit of 6.4 and 6.5. That's why I really like this example. What I'd like you to do is just take a moment, pause the video here, and read through the actual question or information before I come back, and then we'll go ahead and translate all the stuff we have. So now that you've had a chance to read this, you hopefully realize that there's two different pieces that we're talking about. We're talking about a balloon technique, and then we're also talking about a surgical technique. So there's two issues going on. A balloon, which is the new way that they're trying to do this deal with clogged heart valves and vessels. And then there's the surgery, the old way that they did it. And as we read, we can see the surgical technique has a 60% success rate. Success, 0.6, right? Nothing here to say that this is based on a trial or experiment or poll, right? This looks like it's the real deal success rate. A preliminary clinical trial is conducted to test the balloons. Now we're back in the balloon. 50 people were given the balloons, 39 respond to the technique. So this should be straightforward. We should have been good here. We have our N, our number of people who got the balloons, and our X, the number of people who had successes. So very similar to our confidence interval questions previously. And in fact, we see that's exactly where we had. Next thing says calculate a 90% confidence interval. And it says for P, the true population proportion. There is one thing missing in this question. It should say of those who respond to the balloon. We don't have enough information to do this for the surgery, and for the surgery, it appears that they've given us real P, so there's no reason to try to guess at it. But we're trying to figure out, really, what is the real P for the balloon right now? So here's this time for you guys to pause, try to do this calculation on your own. So if you're doing this calculation by hand, you're using our confidence interval formula. And I'll go ahead and just plug into it, but I won't use it. I'll actually just do the calculator shortcut. Your P, remember, if your P hat, it's not given, you can find it. It's X over N. We know the number of successes, which means I can also figure out the proportion of successes. So our formula, 0.78 plus or minus our Z star for 90%. You go to your table, 1.645. You probably will get the 90-95% Z's. Our critical values memorized by the end of this section. We got 0.78. Our Q hat is just 1 minus that, and we got our N of 50. So this is the calculation you're doing if you're doing this by hand. If you have the sweet calculator, you're just going in and doing your 1 prop Z interval and putting in that you have 39. 50, and our confidence level is 90%. So it looks like we have 0.6836. You know, I'm bad at keeping these things in my brain. 0.6836 to 0.8764. So there's our confidence interval. Done. Next step here says interpret our interval in the context of the problem. Okay, great. We are 90% confident. And again, this is something, I should have said pause. Pause. Try to finish the sentence on your own. It's not bad. The more practice you get on your own, the better you're going to do on the test. This one we're a little bit high and dry because what I usually like to do is come here and sort of highlight, and it was missing, but I've filled in and helped us out a bit. So we're 90% confident that the true population proportion of people who respond to the balloon techniques, who respond to the balloon technique is between 0.6836 and 0.8764. Perfect. Excellent. And if you wanted to, again, you can always write these things, the true population percentage, and you could give me 68.3 to 87.6. So here's the part where we're finally getting a preview instead of a review of 6.2. We're getting a preview of 6.4 and 6.5. C says, do you think there's evidence, ooh, that is a giant pen. Do you think there's evidence for the superiority of the balloon technique over surgery? So I really want you to take a moment here and think about, what do we know about the surgery? What do we know about this balloon technique? And what do you think? Which would you rather have if you were going in for this procedure? Would you rather have the balloon or the surgery? Now, hopefully you're thinking, I'd totally rather have the balloon technique, because while we're not 100% sure that this is the true range of where that success rate is, our guess is that the success rate is between 68 and 88% versus a known success rate of 60%. So, yes. Remember, we are 90% confident that the balloon technique has 68 to 88% success, which is higher than 60% for the surgery. I know my handwriting is terrible here, but I'm just trying to get this one done. So we're starting to see this idea that in addition to maybe getting a range of possible values, we may be able to compare and maybe make a conclusion based on some set value, whether or not this is better or worse, something like that, right? So we're starting to see this idea that maybe we could set up a test for our hypothesis as opposed to just looking at an interval, and that the two things that we're doing are incredibly related. So this, to me, is one of the most important examples we do in this class, because it's showing us how these two pieces and what we're about to do are related.